YouTube! What it do, man? It's your boy Benji, and we back in between the ropes. If you're new, please don't forget to subscribe. We had a lot happen on a Wednesday, man. If you are sub to Patreon, I actually did react to this live. I do want to start reacting to more of these live. I might start doing the reaction stream on YouTube because obviously they're going to block it. But drop the content, the video feed on Patreon. But y'all let me know how y'all want to see things. At the end of the day, I'm just doing what the community want. What the Benji gang want. If you are new here, I do ask that you hit the subscribe button and get that like button to chop, man. I actually recently just started watching AEW maybe a couple months ago. So I've been trying to feel out and figure out what's going on in regards to the feuds, the TV shows, the characters, and everything. I'm kind of catching up with a bit of the pacing now. I actually do plan on hitting the show sometime soon. A lot of y'all are starting to give me suggestions on places to hit. So keep an eye out for that. I'm probably going to vlog it too. And look, I know a lot of y'all wanted my Wrestledream recap, man. I just got cooked, man. I got cooked. I'm just gonna straight up say it. The tech has been acting a fool for me recently. So my apologies. I would say it was a pay-per-view that was long. A lot went on, and I was interested to see how it was gonna play itself out on this episode of Dynamite. Let's get into some of the stuff that happened. First match of the show. It was actually a trios championship match. The Ops, featuring Samoa Joe, Powerhouse Hobbs, and Shibata, matched up against the Hurt Syndicate. The Hurt Syndicate is fresh off a beef with The Demand, The Gate to Agony, plus Ricochet. Now, there's a theme in tonight's show that I'm going to talk about, and I'm going to regurgitate. A match between these six guys, I'm not upset to see. I'm sure a lot of people would have loved to see this on a pay-per-view. So I'm kind of interested to see where it's going to go and how it just developed so quickly. Early on, this match was full of graps between Shibata and Shelton Benjamin. Eventually, the big boys were able to tag in and stand across the ring from one another. And the crowd was going crazy. I think everybody was shouting meat or beef or something like that. I'm always down to see some powerhouses go at it. Whoa, almost threw up saying that one. Obviously, a lot of us have seen the Ops turn. All right, these are the bad guys now. And funny enough, I mentioned this watching this live. It's interesting to see that the Hurt Syndicate, and I mean, just look at their name, the Hurt Syndicate. A bunch of guys that are here to hurt people would end up being the good guys, but the people have been cheering, the people wanted them, and that's eventually what we're getting. Samoa Joe's like a part-time wrestler, bro. He hits this little viral walk-away move, and then he tags somebody out of the ring. I do kind of like the bravado that he had. I mean, obviously, he felt like he was just too good to be there amongst these guys. Y'all let me know. Like, I know Shibata's pretty good, but I feel like he just gets left out, especially when we talk about what happened in the finish of the match. So MVP tags in, and of course, he gets his viral ballin' moment, which I think is dope to see that he's starting to get some love. Additionally, it's funny to see that this guy's always moving around and slamming people, beating people up, but he walks around with a cane without it. It's like Clark Kent Superman kind of deal. Anyways, it might be time for Unk to retire because when he started to get some momentum, he got distracted because Ricochet showed up, and that offered Samoa Joe the window of opportunity he needed to put this boy in a chokehold and choke him out so that the Hurt Syndicate loses and the Ops retain. Now, what I was going to talk about. I'm not mad at this match. It did seem like it was a little just kind of Merry Christmas is what y'all get on a Wednesday. So, I mean, nice to get this match. I didn't really understand the purpose of it. But it did seem like we was going to be moving forward in a direction that a lot of people would have liked to see. But even though the Hurt Syndicate just won on a big pay-per-view, they still going to be beefing with the Gate to Agony, The Demand, Ricochet, everybody. Cool. I'm not saying that they should just sweep it under the rug and act like it never happened. But we just fought like 3 times within the last week. Leave me alone, bro. You know what I'm saying? But if you're going to be a hater once, you might as well be a hater forever. So I'm not going to allow you to succeed and get these gold. So all in all, what I'm trying to say is I have no idea where they're going with this, but it could be interesting. This could be maybe a triple threat match between all 3 of these teams for the trios titles. Y'all let me know what y'all thinking. And then we finally get the moment that we were all waiting for. My man Tony, who had his highlighter shoes on, asked Samoa Joe, why? Why did you do what you did? Obviously, a lot of us were ready to see the beef, the match between Samoa Joe and Hangman Page. I predicted he was going to win, and obviously Hangman retained. But things got a little unusual because these guys ended up jumping Hangman after the match. I told y'all previously, I am a big fan of Samoa Joe on the mic. He is just very good. Like, when he faced off against Hangman Page and the both of them were able to kind of get on the mic and tell their stories, I told y'all that, like, it was just obvious to me Samoa Joe just had more conviction. He just was just better. On the mic, I don't know what to tell you. And y'all were just in the comments trying to tell me that you didn't agree. Cool. But y'all not going to tell me that this dude is not really good on the mic. I did get got, though, early because the dude opened up the segment on the mic talking about how much of a pleasure that it would be, or how much of a pleasure that it was to be in San Antonio tonight. I was like, oh, is he acting like he didn't just turn into a bad guy? And then he's like, to have a guy like Powerhouse Hobbs around, it's good to have these big, fat San Antonio women to keep him occupied. And then Hobbs is over there doing all this stuff, trying to act like he's picking up women, and he's ending up dropping women and all this other stuff like that. And that's kind of why I said, in this match, and then even afterwards, I kind of forget about the third member of the Opps. But anyways, it seems like Samoa Joe is just tired of operating in the trios division. He wants to go after singles championships. And he says, as long as I'm on planet Earth and you call yourself a champion, I will come hunting for you. As long as you stride this earth thinking that you're the man, the very best that you can be, I'm waiting to show you that you are not that man. And then he's like, I'm going to do you like everybody other. Wait, hold on. He was like, I'm going to do you like how every other team has done every sports team in this state. I'm going to make you my. And hey, there was some facts to that. If you really got to think about it for a second. The Mavericks have been getting hoed. I mean, the Cowboys have been getting done dirty. I mean, it's been looking bad. You can maybe make an argument about a baseball team. I'm interested to see where that goes next. The story that I've seen is that they've been beaten into the head that Hangman Page is not going to be Dolo. He's not going to continue to be able to walk around as if he's not the champion and has plenty of people gunning for his opportunity. We got to see backstage that Kris Statlander, who was our champion, will accept Mercedes Moné challenge at Full Gear. And even though a lot of people have a lot to say about the amount of belts that Mercedes Moné has won and whether or not it's actually good for the division, I do enjoy the next couple segments. And it all starts with what Kris Statlander says. She's like sitting on a high ground right now because she's like, I don't need a celebration for what I did. I beat who I needed to beat. I beat Toni Storm twice. You have not. I have this AEW Women's World Championship. You've never got it. You can walk around with every belt trying to act as if you don't care. Trying to tell yourself that you're the best in the world. The best to ever do it. But you haven't even won the major title here. So you can act like you're the CEO. But you're not until you beat me, Toni Storm, or at the very least win this belt. And I'm going to assure that you cannot. That's more or less what she was saying. But she really said, you may be the one that broke the glass ceilings, but I'm going to soar past it and take this title to heights that it's never seen before. And you are coming along for the ride. Full Gear. AEW Women's World Championship. Statlander versus Mercedes Moné. Have a nice celebration tonight. Personally, I would like Mercedes to put a title on the line. She has 12 titles. If she loses this match, what does it really do for her? What does it really do for Statlander? Just, okay, next. I think it would be a much bigger chip in Mercedes Moné's side if she loses to Kris Statlander and then loses the championship. But the problem is going to be that now we have a woman with 2 championship belts. She's now then Kris Statlander's got to lose once. We're just kind of in a weird scenario. I'm not mad at them going for this, but again, it's kind of a weird scenario. So let's just say Mercedes loses. Okay, I lost. This is obviously going to be a big blow to my ego, but I have 12 other belts. You know what I mean? So, I don't know. I'm interested to see what they're going to do. And then continuing onward from what I was talking about earlier, Darby Allin hops out to the ring and wants to take his jacket off and let everybody know the scars that he has on his body after the crazy I Quit match. I'm not mad at this promo. He talks about the places that he's willing to go for this company that no one else will go, which I agree with. We started watching some of the hardcore spots that this dude has been a part of. Crazy. He will likely die for this place, like he said. The crowd goes off, and he says that the marks on his body tell a story. He was never going to say I quit, which I believe. And the scars he's wearing today are a great example of that. He knows that the Death Riders are coming for him, and they're not going to go away. But as long as the Death Riders are breathing, Darby Allin is not far behind. So, Darby Allin is going to be the number one hater of the Death Riders, and I do like that he is starting to lead a bit of a charge to where people are no longer afraid of the Death Riders. The Death Riders are human. Jon Moxley is human. He seemed untouchable. He seemed unbeatable. All of that. But now he's starting to cast a little bit of doubt when he looks at himself in the mirror, and this could mean a lot for the division. I mentioned to y'all that I really enjoyed watching the build between these two guys, but we'll talk about it a little bit more later, what I'm thinking. But we next got a women's four-way match. I'm going to tell y'all right now, Megan Bayne is it. She's her. Let's just go ahead and give her and Penelope Ford some tag team championships. Also, they did announce that there's going to be a tag team tournament. But I think that, she just got it. At the very least, if we're not going to give her tag team championships, she should be on the run for some singles belt. Some singles gold, something. She's just dominant. She's big. She's physically imposing. She's got the look. She's got the swag. She's got the walk. I don't understand. Hopefully that's in the cards for her sometime soon. There were a couple dope spots in this match. Some of it was kind of eh. But at the very least, this match was a really good preview to what we may be seeing in the tag team division. Because pretty much all these pairings are participants in the women's tag team match bracket for the gold. This match was essentially so that the winning tag team combination could select who they wanted to face first. And it ended up being the combination of Aminata and Hater, Miss Hater, Jamie Hater, that won. And they ended up choosing the Sisters of Sin, which is Julia Hart and Sky Blue. They are of the Triangle of Madness. There's a lot of names for these duos and then trios, which it's just a lot to keep up with. I don't really care because they're all trios championships, so I understand it. But dude, I like the pairing of Julia Hart and Sky Blue, but it's unfortunate that they have just not won singles. They have not won tag teams since I started watching. So they getting booted first round. Let me know if y'all think anything different. I also don't think that any of these women will be the first women's tag team championships, or they will hold that gold. Y'all let me know what y'all think. We did get a funny segment too backstage right after that match where the Young Bucks are banging on the door of Tony Khan. And this is one of the few times I've actually seen Tony Khan since I started watching AEW. And I ain't gonna lie, he needed to stay out of the way because he was super awkward. But when you got money, it don't really matter. He gives the Young Bucks what they're looking for, kind of. They're looking for a match and an opportunity to get some money back since, we saw Wrestledream, these guys are broke already. And honestly, if you're able to go backstage and just ask for money, essentially, why wouldn't you be broke? If you have bad spending habits like the Young Bucks, why not just go win a match, go out there, splurge, ball out, until the next time that you get an opportunity to be in a money match and then just win. If you're confident, you bet yourself, it's very likely that you're going to win more than you lose, so you're going to be making a lot of money making these money matches. Unfortunately, the problem here is that they have to line up or team up with some people. Like last time when they had to team up with the Death Riders. They got to team up with FTR. And this is going to be a little bit of beef. I'm not quite privy to the lore, but it's obvious these guys don't like each other. That is going to present itself a problem. And I'm sure that FTR does not need the money as bad as the Young Bucks need that money. So, could be a little pettiness. Speaking of petty, I really enjoy Stokely. As he's walking out, he grabs a dollar bill and puts it right on Nick's chest. And he's like, since the holidays are coming up, y'all might need this more than we do. And they surely took that dollar. And next, I really see why y'all like the cat lady. Miss Cameron is something else, man. So Mercedes Moné comes out in order to run her celebration about ring number 46, championship belt number 3000. But Mini Moné is the one introducing all her accomplishments. And obviously, Mercedes does not take kindly to that. Mini Moné even got Renee to do the CEO dance, bro. I don't gonna lie. Somebody did a little bit of voodoo because Mercedes comes out there and dumps the puppet onto a cake, a yellow cake, a big yellow cake. That was just whatever. But that was kind of a symbol of things to come. Mercedes got on the mic and called the crowd a bunch of marks, talked about how much they were hating on him after all that she's done for the company in women's wrestling, which kind of reiterated what Mini Moné was saying. But anyways, because she was so focused on the crowd, because she was so focused on the disrespect, because she was so interested in herself, Statlander is able to show up, put on her shoulders, and dump her face first into the cake. I ain't gonna lie, Mercedes really did make this moment good. But then Statlander went 2 for $1 and then put Mercedes right through the table. I can't lie, this is actually a pretty smart plan. They were able to lure her out in the worst way and take her guard down. This might be an interesting feud. But yeah, Mercedes is chasing Ulti Moné, and I think it is interesting that the one thing that she has not been able to do is get that AEW World Women's Championship. You know what I mean? Or whatever it's called. I think it speaks a lot to her character and the fact that it's rubbing her so wrong that she's been taken off of her game. Because as much as she can do in the rest of the wrestling world, this title's been elusive. As great as she is, the people are not bowing down for her. And so, the piece of the puzzle is going to be right here. She could beat everybody. There's not really a woman that can stand in her way. But the woman that holds the AEW Women's Championship has been insurmountable to the CEO. And so in reality, the biggest competitor to Mercedes is Mercedes. She falls victim to little mind tricks. She falls victim to her own pride. And I think that this could be a really good opportunity to prop up Statlander. But again, I'm interested to see what the logistics are going to be of this match. But we got a long time to figure it out. Speaking of figuring it out and losing their minds, Jon Moxley then gets a video promo, confused, yelling at himself after the match about not delivering on what he promised. He said he was going to make Darby quit. He said he was going to do all of these things. But all they can do now is put his boots back on and head back to the ring. He mentions that his only competition is himself, and there's nobody in wrestling that does what he does. No one can hold a candle to the standard that he set, and he believes that eventually Darby's going to fold. He swore that Darby's body was going to fold during the match, but now he's a liar. I mean, I liked it as a promo. Spoiler alert, he has a match later, like right after this video promo drops. He fights Kyle O'Reilly. And me personally, while I understand that it kind of echoes a sentiment that he did share in his promo, I'm not matching up against anybody after what just happened at Wrestledream. I get it. The dude has unwavering dedication to the world of wrestling. But again, I'm not jumping in that ring and fighting against Kyle O'Reilly. I didn't really understand why these guys were fighting, but O'Reilly was just a pawn in the character development of Moxley at the end of the day. Kyle O'Reilly comes out there and he's confident. Moxley gets a little bit of offense in, but at the end of the day, he's still a little bit hesitant. He's a little bit unstable. He's a little bit beat down. And we see that culminate in the ending of the match, where Riley gets the upper hand and puts this guy in a submission hold to where it looks like Moxley's going to be gone. And then like multiple times throughout the match, O'Reilly tried to get this guy to tap out. But when it looked like it was over for this dude, guess what happened? Moxley ends up punching the ref in order to get himself disqualified. Now, I'm not mad at that finish. And again, that's why I said O'Reilly is really just a pawn in the grand scheme of things, because I don't really know what he has to do with Jon Moxley moving forwards. But it really showed that Jon Moxley is extremely... My jump was just messing up. I just went on a rant. But I don't know where I just went with the rant. All I got to say is it's evident that this guy understands now that he is not unbeatable. And that's the problem. Is that, again, like I mentioned, similar to Mercedes Moné, it's all within your head. All inside your noggin. And when you lose confidence in yourself, and it's you versus the man in the mirror, which is a great metaphor to what we just saw, him talking to the man in the mirror and looking at what he saw, he's realizing he doesn't even have the confidence in himself anymore. He's losing confidence in himself. So he has to get himself disqualified because he refuses to let himself get tapped out again. Y'all let me know. Am I picking up what they putting down? I've been gathering what's going on since I started watching AEW, and I'm starting to understand a little bit of the character psyche. Anyways, it ended up turning into a big brawl that transitioned into the next match, which was the Death Riders versus Roderick Strong and the Conglomeration. I can't even keep track of all the names, but this is a solid match. I like how smoothly it transitioned and made a little bit of sense. That, of course, if we all beefing, F it, let's settle it in the ring. That was cool. I told y'all that Mark Briscoe is a crazy dude, and really he's growing on me because I really enjoy watching him wrestle. I do want to apologize to Claudio because I did mention that he was like a fight like an old uncle, and I'm not gonna lie, he does fight like an old uncle, like a little uncle that gets a little too tipsy. Like, brother, you need to relax. But yeah, he's got that superhuman strength, bro. The end of the match, he comes out and he's gonna like throw, I think it was Orange Cassidy through the announcer's table. But the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Briscoe, comes out, saves the day, and puts Wheeler Yuta through the mat to secure another W. Again, I'm not really mad at them having this match. I don't know what's going on with this. I don't know what they're about to do next. But then, I see where this all ties in. Because Claudio is again about to throw Orange through a table after the match. You know, the Dead Riders being as sore losers as they are, Darby Allin comes out like Batman, again to save the day, and stop this madness from occurring. Believe it or not, I think that Darby Allin has officially put fear in the hearts of the Death Riders. They know that they don't run things anymore. And again, there's somebody who's not scared of them anymore. They don't have the numbers game or numbers advantage anymore either. And to kind of culminate a little bit of the madness, y'all let me know how y'all feel about this. Right after the match, we get Mercedes back there crying that nobody's taking care of her yet, and she's still all caked up. We see Athena. have many of y'all remembered as this woman is a champion? Anyways, she wants more gold, and she would love to help Mercedes get more gold. So they are officially a tag team. This is why I said I feel like it is very likely that majority of the teams that we saw earlier tonight will not compete. Or at the very least, they are not going to win. They're not going to hold gold. I think it'll either be the pairing of Mercedes Moné or Toni Storm and Mina Shirakawa. That's going to end up being the inaugural champions. Now, I know I said a lot, but going back to the match I was just talking about, the Death Riders versus the Conglomerate. Another segment that we get is kind of another strange one where we see somebody that was in a match that just kind of like hangs around to the next segment. So we saw Mark Briscoe just fighting a match. He kind of hung around till another segment or two segments for which Kyle, the protostar, shows up and asks the crowd to say his full name. Again, I don't really get the full name thing. I don't think anybody in the crowd wanted to say his full name because as soon as he said that and paused, the crowd was silent. Anyways, Briscoe comes out there to confront him, and he wants another shot at the belt. The protostar mentioned that their score was 3-2 with the protostar being up. But Mark Briscoe let them know that he's got mouths at home to feed. He's got children. And I liked what Don Callis did. He gets on the mic in order to address him. And he tells them that even though you have plenty of mouths to feed, you're not getting another shot at the title. And he also cleared up the semantics. 10 mouths at home is a financial burden. Which I can kind of understand, bro. In this economic climate that we're in, it is no joke to have 10 kids. That's crazy. Or 10 mouths. But it looks like we're going to be doing a cat and mouse thing for a little bit between these two. I'm kind of interested to see what is going to happen with this championship next. I'm not going to lie. If I'm them, I'm ducking Briscoe. If Briscoe gets another shot at the belt, he's going to win. Absolutely. Man, I know this has been raw and unfiltered, but bad. Additionally, we get a match at the main event with Okada versus Bandido. Not a bad match. Again, I was just kind of one that I was like, well, did I fall asleep? What just happened? How did these guys get a match? I mean, Okada just challenged Bandido for a tag team championship over the weekend, lost, and then now Bandido gets a singles championship against him. I must have fell asleep during one of these episodes. I don't know how this came to be. Anyways, it was an injury that hampered Bandido's success throughout this match, and while he looked like he was going to finish this guy with a 21 plex that he could not kick out of, he loses. I didn't really, and like you can watch if you like on Patreon. I didn't really think that this dude Bandido was going to win this match at all. There was a moment where he had the first 21 plex. I was like, oh, might be a chance. But when he was too slow to get to the cover, I was like, yeah, it's over with him. There's no way that Okada switches his title over. And I felt vindicated to be right as Okada retained. And then Don Callis' family came out to celebrate, but we were missing somebody. There he is. Our boy showed up with his newly won gold, and he is not happy. If you recall at Wrestledream, Okada costed them the match. He's fed up with this dude. He does not like him. And so, at this point, it's time to put their professional differences aside, and it looks like that these two are going to have a match sometime soon. The Don Callis family, specifically Mr. Don Callis himself, is trying to keep the peace between these two. It looks like things have gone too far. But, I mean, this was the end of the show. Not really any words. Just this moment, which kind of leaves a little bit to the interpretation. What's going to happen? All in all, we like to rate things yay, nay, and okay. If I had to say it, this was an okay show. I mean, obviously the wrestling matches were good. Things were a little all over the place for me at first, but I started to see them link up towards the end of the night, how things kind of came to fruition. If you had to ask me, the way that a lot of these feuds are continuing to move, it doesn't seem like, for what many people would have thought going into Wrestledream that there was going to be a big exclamation point or a big period at the end of those wins or losses. As in, it didn't look like any of these feuds that were building, heading up into Wrestledream were going to be ones that continued after Wrestledream. Yet, looks like almost every feud is continuing after Wrestledream. So, again, I'm not mad at it because they all logically seem to make some sense. But I would argue nothing really got advanced storyline-wise. Now, we did see some really good matches at Wrestledream, which I'm not upset for, but I'm interested to see what's going to happen next. Are we going to get swerved by any chance? I will salute them, though, because at the end of the day, even though they've lost some of their biggest names, they're still carrying on. And I think there's a lot of interest surrounding a lot of the people on the show that probably wouldn't have got the same love if those big names were there. So, y'all let me know what y'all think about this episode. All in all, this was a good one, man. I just had to rant, raw, uncut. Let me know what y'all think about this one, man. This episode, I'm out.